Today I want to talk about a very interesting company called TuneTrack. In particular, one of their products called Superior Drummer 3. This isn't a sponsored video. We do work a lot with the software companies. We work with loads of companies like Solid State Logic, Pulsar. Go onto the Melody Matters website and you can see all like the partners that we work with and we train our guys on. But we're not sponsored by TuneTrack. We've been using Superior Drummer 3 for a very long time, simply because I think it's, without a doubt, hands down the best drum software out there. But today I just want to show you how we get our songwriters and singers, when we get them in here to record. We kind of teach them, whilst they're recording their song, we kind of teach them how it's being done. So we've kind of got a one-stop shop. We don't just record them and just give them the product. What we do is we sit them down and we tell them why we're making the decisions we're making, and how we can utilize stuff like EQ and compression. But we don't have a big drum room here. Okay, so for me, 80% of a drum sound is the room, and I'd much rather have a rubbish kit in an amazing room than a brilliant kit in a rubbish room. But we don't use a drum kit. We use a program called Superior Drummer 3, like I said. And I just want to show you how today we utilize Superior Drummer 3, using it with another one of our very passionate workflows, Solid State Logic. We're heavy users of Solid State Logic. And what I'm going to try and do is try to show you how we would route a drum kit in Superior Drummer 3 into Cubase, and then utilize Solid State Logic plugins in order for us to make that sound like a really, really big dynamic drum kit. I often get asked who the drummer is. My clients often get asked the same question. So what we're going to do today is just show you how we can get a simple drum pattern with fills, with hi-hats, with ride, and we're going to route all that out as you do in a real world exercise with a drum kit, and then we're gonna send that to a room that we create. So I'm going to jump into Cubase. This should help you out a little bit, because I'm going to show you how we mix into compression in order for us to give ourselves a much better headroom. So yeah, let's jump into Cubase and let's have a little look at it. Okay guys, I'm just going to put some cans on, and we're gonna have a little look about what we're doing with this quite simple drum loop. Well, I say it's simple. It's really complicated. It's in 5/4, 7/4, and it's in 4/4. So we're kind of covering a few time signatures in this one. Let's have a listen to what is going on with this kit. Okay, so we got a simple, well, it gets a little bit more complex. So what we've got here is a variety of different MIDI patterns. I've had to program these in myself purely because it's such a wild time signature, but the time signature doesn't matter. It's going to be exactly the same whichever way you do it. So what we've got now is we've got a basic groove, which is only going into it's going through our main Superior Drummer 3 instrument. Okay, sounds okay. But we're going to make it sound a lot better than that. Okay, so let's have a look at what we could do here. So firstly, I've got to get my mixer up into Superior Drummer. Okay, and what I've got here is it's a kind of dumbed down, really easy sort of layout of the mixer, and really how many instruments we've got running through at the moment. So you can kind of see it, all this is taken up. I mean, I mean, you could do this with Easy Drummer 3. I actually wanted to do it with Easy Drummer 3 because it kind of makes the process a little bit more straightforward. I'm actually in talks with TuneTrack about getting a copy of that and doing another video similar to this, but just using Easy Drummer 3. It kind of doesn't matter which program you use, whether it's Easy Drummer 3 or whether it's Superior Drummer 3. Superior Drummer 3 is obviously a lot more. It's a lot deeper in terms of its use. You can get a lot of effects from it. I mean, we could change the velocity curve. We can change the envelope in terms of how much that drum kind of reverberates. But for the time being, we're just going to keep a simple groove. So you can see here I've counted. We've got 13 channels. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that back a bit on my other screen, and what I need to do now is I need to go into my channel where the Superior Drummer is. I'm using Cubase. You could do this in Logic, Pro Tools, but Cubase is something that I've been using for about 30 years now. Now what we do now is if we click onto this channel here, okay, you could see we've got our outputs, okay. And what I've done is I've already checked these. They tally exactly the same with what we have in Superior Drummer. You know, I've got 13 instances here of outputs, and they correlate exactly to the kick in, kick out, etc. So here's what I prepared earlier. So I'm just going to pop that down now. So what we can see is that I've labeled in correspondence everything to what's happening within Superior Drummer 3. They're not rooted yet, so that's something we're going to do, because if I play now here, I've only got the signal coming through the main Superior Drum channel. I don't want to use everything in here. Now, that's not to say you can't do that. You can do that, but I'm going to be using SSL, solid state logic, both hardware and software. For now, we're just going to use the plugin. So what I'm going to do first and foremost is I'm going to root, so I can see where everything's going. So my kick in, I know is going to 3 and 4. My kick out is going to 5 and 6. My kick sub is going to 7 and 8. My snare top 9, 10. Snare bottom 11, 12. My hi-hat is going to 13, 14. My rack 1 is going to 15, 16. My rack 2 is 17, 18. My rack 3 is 19, 20. My floor tom 1 is going to 21, 22. Floor tom 2 is going to 23, 24. My overheads, and these are in stereo, they're going to 25, 26. Okay, and I've got my room, which I'm not actually going to use, but we're going to pop it in anyway. So that's what we've got here. So now when we play the kit, we can see everything corresponding into the relevant channels there. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna well, first I'm gonna get rid of this. I don't need it, because I'm now gonna work in Cubase, and we're gonna really make this drum kit sound very, very big. So what I'm gonna do first of all is I'm gonna put a channel strip onto every single one of these elements of the kit. Okay, so with Cubase, I need to pop on my Q link. That now is going to react with every single channel. I'm going to put it on my second slot in, because I want something on my first for just the kick. So first thing we're going to do, I use a 4KB. It's kind of my go-to. And now I'm going to put a bus compressor here. I've got my bus compressor there. Okay, lovely. Okay, now for my kick, I'm now going to do the same thing, shift and hold down my mouse button. Now I can put in a free plugin, and this is a great plugin that I recommend all you guys get. It's from a company called Waves Factory, and this is called the SK10, and it's basically a kick mic. And I put this on every single one of my kick drums. I mean, arguably you should only put it onto the kick in, but for this I'm going to put it on everything, and I'm just going to dial everything back. It gives me a really nice rich kick sound to work with. Okay, Now, what I'm now going to do is a bit controversial. Okay, I'm now going to pull these down. Well, first of all, let's work on our verse first. Okay, within Cubase, and let's get this hi-hat sounding good. So I'm gonna zoom, I get that located in, and I'm gonna put that on cycle. So we're just gonna go over and over and over that. So actually, there's one thing I'm gonna do just before that, is I'm gonna make a bus track for the entire kit, so everything routes through that. So I go to my group track here. It's got to be in stereo, because we're going to make a stereo sound. We're going to really widen this kick and make this drum kit and make it sound really, really fat. Okay, I'm just going to call it Big Kit. The reason it's called Big Kit is because I did have another dry kit on this on this record, and I was combining two drum kits together. But you don't have to do that. I'm just going to make this simple for you. So there's my big kit. I'm just going to pop a little picture of it there, nice and pretty. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these, okay, and I'm going to send them all to my kit, my kit bus track. So everything now is being routed towards this kit, as we can see. Okay, cool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here. I'm going to do my controversial thing. Okay, my mix is here. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this down to crazy low levels. Okay, I'm going to take it down to minus 23 dB. Okay, so that might seem a bit wild, because when I now play if I solo my kit now, you can hardly hear it. Okay, it's really, really, really quiet. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mix into compression. Okay, so how I'm going to do that? I've got lots and lots of headroom now. So this tiny little drum kit is gonna turn into something pretty big indeed. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to firstly, I'm going to get up my now I've got the hardware of the controllers to do this, but to show you guys what I do, we're going to do this with the plugin. Okay, again, don't be put off by the quietness of it now, because that's going to change dramatically. First thing I want to do here with a kick drum is I want to take probably about 80 dB. Okay, that might seem a lot. I could dial it back later on, but I want to get that mud out of it. The kind of mud that when you put it in your car goes off the charts and starts rattling, and you're all panicking thinking that your mix is terrible, but it isn't. As long as we can get this sorted, get the low end under control, we're in a good place. I'm now going to set my ratio to 2:1. Okay, again, fairly controversial, because that's a bit fast for a drum kit, but I want to dial that in. As we can see, this here just flashing. Okay, lovely. And I'm going to do with my bus compressor, I'm just going to get that up, and I'm just going to turn the threshold till we got that -4. That's lovely. That'll do me just fine. Okay, it's exactly the same now with my kick in, with my kick out rather. We're going to get rid of the mud. Let's take it to about 80 hertz. We're going to dial this back till I get that. With the kick out, you can kind of be a little bit conservative with it, because we really don't want all that flamminess with the kick. We kind of just want that low end coming from the kick in. Okay, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to do exactly the same here. I'm going to get my bus compressor, and I'm just going to get that so that's dialed in to -4. That'll do us. Okay, just underneath that level that we need. Exactly the same with the kick sub. Okay, we're going to go into our kick sub. We're going to go take a lot of the energy off that bottom end. Okay, we're just going to take it off there, that filter, that high pass filter. We're just going to put it to there. Okay, and then we're going to take the ratio again. And you could just see here by the meter that we're just teasing that number, we're teasing number 3 there, okay? And so we've got a really controlled sort of thing going on. And my bus, let's get my bus up and see what's going on there. Just gonna dial this back. Lovely. Okay, that's good. So we now move on to the snare. Okay, with my snare, I mean, I'm going to take quite a lot of this out now. I'm going to move this to sort of like 12 o'clock. I don't really want a lot of low end in that snare, because you're going to get that you're going to get problems with the low end there. I'm going to move this now to a more busy part. So here's my snare. Okay, I'm going to just dial this back. Okay, that's nice. Okay, and what I'm going to do now, so I'm going to get my bus compressor up. Again. And what I'm essentially doing here is I'm setting the level of the water. So none of this can, you know, other than the transients, can really give us any problems. We look at the snare bottom in much the same as we look at the kick out. It's the rattle of the snare, really. And we don't want too much of it. So we're gonna pull that again to 12 o'clock. Okay, and you'll hear it start coming out more. So that is, I'm using my ears for that now, and I just kind of want that to be there. So I'm going to move back to here because I want to dial my hi-hat in. This is where my hi-hat's prevalent. So I'm going to move this back up. I want to get a little bit of high end into this. Okay, so I'm going to move it up to about 12k, and I'm just going to adjust this just to get that nice sparkle within the hi-hat. Okay, still sounding pretty rubbish at the moment. Not a lot of inspiration going on here from the sound of it. It just sounds a bit quiet, and you know, what the hell is this guy doing? So now what I'm going to look at here with my overheads. Okay, so I'm gonna, a lot of people take these like all the way, but I'm gonna like kind of take it to, I want a little bit of the bottom end from the overheads. Okay, so I'm gonna high pass it roughly to about 100 hertz. Okay, a lot of people would go a lot further than that and take it up to, you know, to more extreme sort of frequencies. So I'm now going to do the same. Cool. Okay, so that's what I mean. The room, I'm actually going to take the room down because I'm not going to use it, because I'm going to make my own room. Okay, so again, really quiet stuff going on. So we're going to kind of change that now. First thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to add another 4 kb to the mix. Okay, I'm going to take a lot of that bottom end off. Okay, up to about 80 hertz. Same thing, ratio 2:1. I'm going to really get this out now. Oh, first of all, it'd be handy if I sent everything to this this thing here. There we go. Okay, get some nice vibe come from there. I'm going to add a valve compressor. Okay, ratio I'm going to leave it about 5:1 here. Okay, I'm just going to pull the threshold down. Nice. Okay, I'm gonna move to a slightly louder part of the record. So already now we're getting some volume within the track. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to add a saturator from SSL. Okay, so that's sounding a lot more meaty now. We're getting a lot more of a full sound coming from that drum kit. And what we're looking at here is we've got a lot of headroom. Okay, you know, we've got a hell of a lot of headroom from our mixer. If we could see, if we play that again. And what that means for you is that you're going to be able to work, you know, no longer are you going to be running out of fader. You know, we're going to be, I mean, the drums are arguably some of the most dynamic parts of the mix. And what we were looking to do here is to tame that element of the mix, which is going to be potentially the most problematic. And you know, we're not going to lose anything. We're actually going to gain more control from mixing into compression. So I'm going to add maybe a little bit of saturation here. So I use Decapitator. Okay, and we're going to try that again now. So I'm using the N setting, which I believe is the Neve setting. And the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a limiter. Okay. So what I'm going to add here is the ozone limiter, which I think for me is one of the best I've used. So if I go onto zone 2 and go to the limiter here. Okay, and we're going to set this just below unity. So basically I'm looking at just 0.1. I just don't want it going into the red. Okay, so now when we play this with the track now, we're going to get a lot better idea of what's going on. Okay, very nice. Okay, so basically now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, just before the limiter, is I'm going to add a little bit of widening. I use the Fusion by SSL. You can kind of see a bit of a pattern here. I kind of do like SSL. So okay, so we've just widened that a little bit and we've tamed the bass down slightly, as you can hear. Okay, so it doesn't end there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to build a room, and I'm going to use another plugin now, which is fast becoming my favorite plugin of all time. It's a reverb plugin, but it's not a normal reverb plugin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an effect here, and I'm going to look for this plugin here. It's the Sound City Studios by UAD, and I'm going to call it Big Kit Room. Okay. Okay, so we're going to add that. Okay, and I'm going to now I'm going to start looking at making this drum kit sound massive. I'm going to be the neat freak that I am and turn this into my little pig channel. I'm going to put a nice little drum kit box here, and good to go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to send my bus to this kit room. Okay, so let's go for that now, and it's going to sound. Let's have a listen to it before it goes into the room. And here it comes in now with the room. So, you know, nice, but a little bit much, right? You know, we need to just dial that back a little bit, and get this sounding a little bit more sort of tame. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do with this is a lot of people leave it in remic. You don't do that. Stick it into reverb mode. Okay, when we pop into reverb mode, okay, we can now mix the impulse responses from the room in with our original mix, which is what I want. So now when I do that, first of all, I'm just going to high pass everything, okay, and I'm going to time align the entire thing. Okay, I want everything sounding tight. I don't want it loose. What I'm looking for is just a nice sounding room with a uniformed reverb coming off their impulse responses. So now I'm just gonna just blend this in. And now I can actually turn down the drums, because the drums have now been have been amplified so much because we've mixed into that compression. Whereas before we were listening to everything and it was just like incredibly quiet. Now all of a sudden we're in a situation where the faders are exactly the same and everything now is incredibly loud. So we need to turn that down because it's getting a bit too much. So let's do that. It's really nice. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of reverb into the equation here. I'm going to pop onto my effects channel here, and let's play that again. And this part here, I'm just going to turn to an 1176, which is the classic combination for drums. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of using this this dynamic section here as a bus compressor, which it essentially is. And I'm treating it in much the same way as I treat my SSL bus compressors to a 4. So now everything has got a uniformity to it. Everything is really sort of set to a certain level, and nothing's going to be giving us any problems in the future with any of the drums. We've got a limiter on the bus track. So that is looking after, you know, the any problems we get with any clipping, and we've also got bus compression and compression on each and every single channel, bar the toms. But I always do the toms after. With toms, you just find a part where it's got a lot of tom activity, and then we just choose that part and we dial it in like we did with everything else with the 2-to-1 ratio. And pulling everything back till we get that that light just flashing, and then we bus compress that as well. We can add a little bit of reverb. They've got a lovely chamber reverb in here. See how that works. Okay, so there we have it, really. I mean, so what we've done here is we've taken a very powerful system in the form of Superior Drummer 3, which can be used in its entirety alone as a standalone plugin within your DAW. I mean, you kind of don't need to do all this routing. But, I mean, if you're used to kind of doing it the old school way like me, and I am old, and I am old school, and I have worked a lot on routing with big, you know, full format, large format consoles, then this kind of gives you that feel, and it really dials in the element of control you've got over every element of the kit. If I've got a problem with my hi-hat, I can zone in on it. If I've got a problem with a certain tom, I can zone in on it. If the kick is giving me problems, well, I've got three channels I could choose from, and just dial that in to just blend in what I want from that kick. The more you do it, the faster you're going to become at mixing drums. I mean, I've slowed everything down a little bit, and this is kind of an example in its roughest and readiest form, because I'm aware of time here, and I don't really want to get you know, you guys screaming at me because I'm taking too long. But that's kind of it, really. I'm going to look at doing something with Easy Bass with you guys next time, and show you again how I just use Easy Bass as a MIDI controller, really, and I don't really use any of the patterns in there. I program the bass going into the MIDI and Cubase. But hope this has all helped you out. I've actually got a client on the line at the moment, and he's actually watching in real time, because he's got a track that he's been producing with us. So if there's any questions, get hold of me in the comments. My company's melodymatters.co.uk. We're hoping to do this again soon with Easy Drummer 3, because I know a lot of you guys have got that. So I'm just on to the guys at Toontrack to send us over a copy, and we can do that for you as well. But don't be frightened of doing this. This is a great way of upping your drum game and really getting that big live, you know, real drum sounds. You know, we're in an amazing age where we've got all this software. 15 years ago, you know, you had to go and get a studio with a decent room in order to record drums. Now I know loads of people who are recording drums either in Superior Drummer 3 or live, and they're putting them into stuff like Sound City Studios. But when you've got something like Superior Drummer 3, you know, you've really got Vinnie Carluto at your fingertips. You know, I mean, it is a phenomenal bit of software, and you know, big up to the guys at Toontrack. They really know what they're doing. They've got stuff like Easy Keys 2. They've got stuff like Easy Bass, Easy Drummer, Superior Drummer. Easy Mix is not something I use, because obviously this is my job. I don't lean on stuff that helps me mix. I like to think I know what I'm doing there. But it'd be nice if they brought out an Easy Guitar. God, imagine that. I'd love a bit of that, because I'm an absolutely abysmal lead guitarist. Not bad rhythm player, but lead guitarist, I could really do with some help with that. Come on, Toontrack, pull your fingers out. Okay, that is really great. So I mean, as I said, guys, I'll leave all the link in the comments for you to have have a little butcher's at Toontrack's products. Great company. You know, really good support from them. And my company's Melody Matters. We're a vocal coaching, mixing and mastering company, and we help you guys turn your ideas into reality. Okay, sounds a bit cheesy, that, doesn't it? But that's kind of what we do. We sit down and we make decisions, and we tell you why we're making those decisions. So at some time in the future, you could take these programs to your own home, and you could do it for yourself without the help of us, because we feel that we've taught you everything that we know. But like I said, any questions, leave them in the comments. All the best. Okay, so I hope that was of some help to you guys out there, who, you know, are trying to get that big drum sound, but you only have a small room like this. This is really how we get the drums to sound so big in most of our productions. This was condensed down a fair bit. There's a lot more to it than that. You know, but you're gonna get that kind of vibe of how to take a kit that's been recorded elsewhere and really make it sound massive within the confines of your own studio space. This is how we treat all our drum kits, and unless we have live drums come into the studio or sent into us via WAV, but we'd probably deal with them much the same way. So yeah, I mean, I'll leave a link down in the comments so you can check out TuneTrack and all the products that they do. Great company, check them out if you haven't already. And yeah, if you want any more information off us, what it is that we do, I mean, we're a mixing and mastering company, but we deal a lot in vocal coaching. But what we do is we get a lot of the guys into the studio, people that want to write songs, people that want to bring their ideas to life, and we take them through it in real time, and they can learn in the way I never got to learn. I mean, I had to bloody just sit in the back with a pen and paper and then ask the engineer afterwards. No one ever told me anything. I had to work it all out for myself. But what we do is we make that process a little bit more transparent and make it easier for you guys to mix and master yourself without the need of us being there. Check out melodymatters.co.uk. That's my company. We deal with a lot of software developers. We deal with so many these days. So many of the guys have come on board and they help us out. And what tends to happen, the people that get taught on the software that we use tend to buy that software. And I think that's kind of why the developers do it. But yeah, if you want any more information about myself, check out my website, www.melodymatters.co.uk. Everything's in there. I'll pop a link in the box down below. And if you've got anything you want to say, just give us a shout. Cheers.